Alright, hello everyone. It's a bit late right now. As you can see, it's 2:24 a.m., which is about the end of the daily schedule of waking up, being a bit counterproductive, getting some work done, some studying, quote unquote, and then just playing games whenever possible. I guess now at the end of summer 2016, but there's a few things that have come to my attention, especially today. So we're going to talk about this. I'm going to go ahead and start this off with a congratulations to Prolosco that just received his Dice Friends dog tags. He joins our ranks. Many of us, Mr. Falls as well today, so that's pretty sick. Who else? I saw Valgard from EA Community Management. Pretty sick. So I like seeing people that actually deserve it after the work that they've put in actually get something at the end of it. Even though all the dice tag does, really, from my year-and-a-half experience, is that people just flame you and think that you work for DICE for some reason. Anyways, it's come to my attention that a lot of people have some pretty big misconceptions about who I am, what I've done in the past year or so, especially. And I'm here to correct them, because I don't like people thinking that I'm acting like a douchebag or doing things that are very unprofessional. I sometimes do them, I have to agree, but I do things for a reason, and for many reasons that I'll try to clarify as much as possible today. It's a bit of a, I don't want to say coming out, that's not really the word to use here, but it's telling the truth, really. A truth that has been hidden from a lot of people, even people that I consider as very good friends that I know in Battlefield, through Battlefield, that obviously through Battlefield I've gotten to meet awesome people, amazing people from really all corners of the world, which is amazing. But these people have, from what I've seen, gotten a few misconceptions. Some maybe not really know what I really did before, what my story really is, and I end up getting hate stuff like you. And this really cuts me deep when people come up and say, well, you've given up on us, you've let us down, you've abandoned the scene. It's nothing like this, nothing at all. And I'm here to correct it. I'm here to tell the real story so people know where I come from, what I do, what I've done, and the reasoning behind it. And hopefully, by the end of this, you'll get to actually understand my situation over the past few years and what I've become today, and it'll make you maybe change your mind if you had any misconceptions. If not, then so long, I guess. It's been nice knowing you. Let's start off from the beginning. Alright, who am I? I'm Milosh Tomek. I'm Ghassan Finch. I come from Lebanon, second biggest city in the country, from Tripoli in the north. It's very isolated city, depending on how you look at it. I grew up on playing games. I've always had parents and family telling me that, you know, games are irrelevant. You'll never. I remember this exactly, where I would be told, well, why do you keep playing on the computer? Because I used to, from even as a kid, the only thing that I really played on was PC before I got into PlayStation 2. It was all, well, the PC isn't feeding you, the PC isn't feeding you. And I got that every single time I tried to play or have fun, even after being one of the top students in my school, and later on it really weighed heavily on me. And at some point I wanted to show people that I can actually eat from this and drink like I am today. And maybe with this we can clear up some misconceptions about some stuff in esports, about casters too, in general. I grew up on video games. I tried to be as best as possible within the top 5 of my class. Sometimes I did it, sometimes I didn't really succeed in it too much, but most of the time I was pretty good. I made it to a point where I finished my my baccalaureate. For the French people understand this. We have the exact same system in Lebanon, and I wanted to go study abroad because Lebanon didn't have the what do you call it, the courses that I really needed in optometry. I wanted to continue the family business. for my parents. And so in Lebanon, it wasn't gonna happen. There's only one school that does it, and it's too far away. I don't like living in the places that where it is, and I don't want to do anything there. So I wanted to go to France. Didn't work out. Applied to the best university there, which obviously I wasn't really good enough to go. So I went to the best university in Belgium. It's helping me out. I got to meet awesome people over the years here, like Une Frite Une Fois, Neometrix, Frizour. Hopefully get to meet a lot more from the Belgian community here. So from coming here, I didn't have much. When I started here, I barely had anything in terms of morale support. It's a lot more important than just having money to eat and drink, and thank God my parents are able to help me out with that. However, I didn't have anything when I came here. I barely had a shitty laptop that even strained running Age of Empires 2, and even the one after it, which is like even an older laptop. Some people may remember from the NixDK days, a long time ago, the one time he streamed Age of Empires 2 HD edition when it was just released. It was the first time I had ever bought anything on Steam, and I created a PayPal account. I had him wait 4 days until I actually got my PayPal account to be able to buy Age of Empires 2 and play with Nix and Abrams back then, Abrams 112. That was a long time ago. I came here in late 2011, in September 2011, and now we're nearing September 2016, and 5 years later a lot of things have changed. I've fallen in love with Battlefield. I had played Battlefield 1942, I played Battlefield 2. Unfortunately, none of my friends really played them, so I didn't continue playing them because there was no reason. We played a lot of Delta Force, a lot of Half-Life, a lot of COD 2, which is still one of my favorite MP games ever. We played a lot of CS, 1.3, 1.5, 1.6, a lot of 1.5 back in the day. CS Source, still possibly my favorite CS ever made, even though CSGO is an awesome game, it's just not the same. So all of these things happened. I got here, I had nothing to really play or enjoy or do, and one day I discovered Dascro on YouTube. I actually had no idea esports even existed. Yeah, the guy that always talks about, you know, StarCraft Brood War, come watch it, it's the best game, it's the game that made esports. We played it in LAN tournaments, and there weren't even like actual tournaments. We got people to sit around and in LAN play against like different classes in schools, that would just play against one another and have fun. We never even we played Company of Heroes, we played Age of Empires. I watched a lot of my friends playing the original Dota mod, but I used to play Warcraft 3 whenever possible. So that was a long time ago, and I didn't even know that esports existed, that Twitch existed, that Justin TV before it existed. I didn't even know it was possible to do this kind of streaming stuff. And I discovered it via YouTube one day when I saw Dascro's videos. I remember it very, very fondly because my first few months here in Belgium, living alone, and really when I say alone, I mean I used to have to some extent breakdowns because all I would do is wake up, go to uni, come back, study, which uni was like 15 minutes away, so I didn't really have to, I didn't do anything except for sit around all day and study whenever possible and just create sob stories for no reason. I didn't have anything else to do. I fell into some relationship stuff, so that was a terrible, terrible time. So finally got, you know, over that as quickly as possible. But you know what helped me? Battlefield helped me. I used to come, I remember this very, very fondly. It was Tuesdays or Fridays. I would always come back home and I would wait for Dascro to upload his latest 32v32 video. It did back then, there was Level BF, but they did a lot of, what's it called? I don't remember the exact name, but I definitely remember Dascro Global Conflict. There we go. That was fantastic when I used to watch these organized 32v32 Battlefield 3 map games, and I'm like, holy crap, man, this is amazing. Battlefield looks like an amazing game. It must have like spectator, and there's like maybe tournaments that they do for it, because I used to see these things and they were so well done because of the amount of time that they put into it. Whitey and Dascro back then, that I thought, holy crap, there must be something behind this. I used to watch a lot of Daskro videos for the guns as well. I really liked to see the mechanics and the engineering, the stories behind guns as well. He has a lot of them. One day we'll get to meet, hopefully. And so, because of Daskro, I fell in love with BF, and I really wanted to get into it. And I saw one day a video, and I still really remember it fondly, where there were tiny Daskro faces that were throwing money around, and I don't know why. They're all on his YouTube channel. This video is amazing. But I remember tweeting it and tweeting to him and saying, this video is amazing, and I used to put it in the YouTube comment. I remember my ex-girlfriend back then, he once replied in one of his gun videos, and I was asking about something about the weaponry. And he put, he said my name on the video, and I'm like, holy shit, look at this, honey. And I really, really like that. I never thought that this kind of thing was actually possible. Imagine this as someone that back then, a 17-year-old, was so enthralled with how the world worked outside of this tiny country where I came from. From then on, I saw the video. He was asking for people to come up and try to cast and play, and that was my second year here in Belgium. So in the first year I bought an Xbox. I played a lot of Modern Warfare 3, Call of Duty, because that's what I grew up on. For the later stages with COD 4 and COD 2, like, okay, well, COD MW3 should be something nice, right? And fortunately, with not enough money to build a PC back then, I bought a console. I played as much as possible, and I remember when I was about 16, when I was in Canada for a while, my cousin, all he did was, whenever he could during the summer, he would come back from work and play Battlefield Bad Company 2 in front of me, and I'm like, holy crap, this game, I mean, it's sick. I remember on, what was it? It wasn't Laguna Presa. The map where you start off, where you have to go with the helicopter on the first island, Valparaiso, I think. So I remember him playing this exact map, and I told him, like, man, why aren't you playing MW2 with us on the Xbox? And I was like, when I was 16. Now I'm 22. And he'd tell me, no, Battlefield is for real, man, and stuff like that. I really enjoyed it in moments like this. Now I relate, but it took a while. So in second year, start getting into knowing what esports is, because if you check my Twitch account, it's registered something like 30th or 31st of December 2012. No, 2012, I think. And yeah, 2012. That was 4 years ago when I first started. I remember watching the 32v32 BF3 stuff that LBF organized a long time ago, and Daskro used to cast them and stream them using the hack tool that they had for that they worked on with Blue Entertainment and Hadiwati a long time ago. Very rudimentary tool to get spectator into the game and be able to really hack into it, and quote-unquote 32v32 was more like 31v31, so you get my point. So that was the whole thing. I got into it because I started playing Battlefield 3. I bought it. I actually had 2 copies of Battlefield 3 on my Xbox because I just loved the game so much. When I first played it, I got bashed on by people, and that was a year after it was released, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm keep getting bashed, but somehow I want to come back and play this game over and over and over and over again. And I just couldn't stop, and I played Battlefield 3, and that's where I met a couple of American players. Somehow just people just randomly played together and were good. I don't know, they were good players and were really fun to play with. I met a couple of Americans that we played with and had a lot of fun with. From then I discovered the SSKM clan. I remember those days where we'd all get together, and from then I got to meet Gone to the Lights, a fellow Belgian as well that I got to meet in real life not too long afterwards. We used to play, like, I think we clocked in. I actually have this here. Now, an Xbox 360. Those were very, very good old days. Yeah, 727 hours on the Xbox, and that was just, I mean, about 600 of them were played with Gone to the Light. So because of Battlefield 3, I really, really got over the fact that you know, there's bad things in life. Maybe I'm not really happy mentally, or not really mentally, but emotionally and stuff like that. It happens. You're by yourself. There's no family around you. Shit happens. And from then on, I went up to cast. I remember this. I went to the mall. I bought a shitty Logitech headset that I still have somewhere, and I used that to cast. I tweeted at Dascro, told him, look, hey, I really want to cast. What do I need? And all he told me was like, you need TeamSpeak and you need a headset, and that's it. A headset and a mic, and that's it. Like, okay, get up. I'm in this channel with all the guys from LBF. I'm like, holy shit, Dascro and Whitey and da. I couldn't believe it, man. I was there, and it all happened. It all started from there. Kugla was still around back then. If some of the people here remember it, it was a long time ago. Some people were happy with the performance. I remember Whitey telling me like, "Hey, you're a natural. I don't know how you're doing it, but you're natural," and he believed in me. He still does, from the Instagram posts that I've seen. Very nice guy, Joseph, and Dascro helped out a lot. It was an inspiration back then, so was Whitey, and with them, and I remember Dark Requiem a long time ago. He's retired, not retired, but like he was a intelligence officer in the U.S. Army. I believe it was the Army, but you know, drones and stuff. You know, Dascro works on drones, and it's no secret anymore. So there was a weird system to have streaming up, and like Dark Requiem would spec in game, then he would have a stream up, and the stream was used by Whitey as something that was used as a backdrop, and then you had multiple POVs that was handled by the multiple streaming partners in it, like Kravitz and Dinks and Nix back then, and you know, other people as well in the community, and all of that used to happen, and it was all managed by basically most of the time it was all managed by Whitey, who had like 12 different screens to look at to make things happen. It was amazing how he did it, and from then on I just couldn't stop. I casted that, then I had to do stuff for university, so it went away, and then in the summer I finally built my own PC after being pressured by some American. I don't remember his name, but he was a huge dick. By that point, my mother had contracted breast cancer, and so there was all the stuff that came with it. And the guy just kept, you know, crap talking and talking shit about stuff like that. And it was bad. It was on stream, and there was like 500-600 people that were watching, and nobody took any actions. And I got super salty back then for obvious reasons. And I just went away for a while, then came back after I built my PC, like a tower. And from Lebanon, I casted the ER Reality Below Radar Cup, which you can still see highlights of on Dascro's channel. That was super sick to cast. We had to cancel it one day and then work on it the next week, and it took us multiple hours, and it was restreamed the next day. There's a lot of work on Dascro's side especially, but it's pretty fun. We got to do that with Luton a long time ago. And so that happened. I'm noticing 19 minutes here, so it's gonna take a while. I'm gonna explain to you everything. So at the end, you're like, okay, this is Milosh, this is what he's done, this is where he came from, and this is why I do things I do now in 2016. Basically, from then on, I came back to Belgium. I brought my PC with me. My parents almost didn't let me do it. I had to fight for it. And I finally got my PC here, and from then it was, it started up. Battlefield 4 came out, I started streaming. Battlefield 4 wasn't good on release, I despised it. At some point I left, I started playing PlanetSide 2, I love PlanetSide 2, I still do actually. But it was, you know, about that teamwork and that kind of stuff. Remember about the Dascro 32v32 stuff? That was a big deal for me. And so back then I just left, started playing PlanetSide 2, and that was it. And then at the that was in, well, Battlefield 4 was released in 2013, like 2013. Then in summer 2014, I remember Gerald coming up to me, and because I remember commanding the against Gerald, who's a very good friend of mine, playing 32v32 organized stuff with Level BF back when they did in the early release days of Battlefield 4. Basically, I played Commander mode because it was the only thing that really drove me to play Battlefield 4, because everything else was so terrible I didn't want to play it. 10 hertz, it was just awful. So back then all I did was play Commander mode, and I streamed it, and I was one of the top commanders in the world until I just stopped it. And by the summer, when I had come back, Gerald, basically here's how it happened, how I got really into casting Battlefield 4. Gerald came in on TeamSpeak one day. He told me, look Milosh, Jonne from BNL back then needed someone to cast the final for Division 2 with Delta Force playing, and wouldn't you want to cast it? I'm like, I wouldn't mind, because War Galleon used to cast a long time ago. I don't know what he's doing nowadays, but everybody's like, oh, no offense, but from all that I've been receiving was like, oh, he puts us all to sleep, it's not fun, I'm sure you can do better, and whatever. So I casted with Jonne that final. It was fun, everybody liked it. We had like 80 viewers, which was huge for me. I couldn't believe it. And from then on, like, okay, well, I would like to cast some more, so I started casting whenever possible, but I had to go back to Lebanon that summer, so I didn't cast the entire summer until I came back, and I saw that ESL, at this point I had no clue that there was anything like an ESL tournament or the DreamHack that was before. So I looked at the schedule, I saw that ESL was doing stuff, so I asked Kevin Ario. I was like, okay, Kevin, who by the way is a very good friend and awesome person, as well as Aether from Level BF and now Awesome, obviously. They've been with me through thick and thin and really helped me out, improving over the years. And so what happened is that through Kevin, I told him, look mate, I want to cast some more. I enjoy it and it keeps me sane because I have nothing else to do, especially that year. I really had nothing to do because I had to repeat a year and I only had like 3 courses a week, which gave me a lot of free time. So I asked him. He finally got contacts with the ESL, with Payo. Payo is now one of my good friends in the Battlefield scene. The ESL admin, head of ESL admin for Battlefield 4. I remember talking to him first on Skype, and I was so super scared. And Payo is a very serious person when work is involved. Very, very German, very Eastern German as well. And at the end of it, he finally agreed to me casting stuff, and so I started casting Go 4s and any event that I could get my hands on, and casting and casting and casting. ESL won past night for the winter. I didn't even know that thing existed. Like it was that bad back then. So imagine this. I wouldn't really put it on anyone that nobody knew what was happening in the Battlefield scene back then, or even knew that Battlefield had a scene, because even someone that was as involved as I am had no clue about it. Brett obviously was casting a lot back then, so there was no real shortage because he had the time as well to do so. And when the Americas was introduced as a region, I decided to hop in a bit more and say like, okay, well, it's a lot easier for me to handle the European stuff, so I'm going to try to focus on those, whilst Brett focuses a lot on the Americas region. So that way, in my mind, we would have a bit of a divide that would bring us together for any sort of future event, because then we would have enough knowledge to cover everything. And at that point I still had no clue if I would ever be at an event. So at that point, remember the Battlefield stream team with Level BF, it was a terrible idea. I opposed it from the beginning, and the only way that I could really agree to it personally, even though nobody really cared about my opinion, was the fact that there was certain timings to respect, and Level BF was always known for being competitive Battlefield place, and that's it. If you want to add more stuff to it, then it's got to happen on it cannot happen on the expense of the esports type of stuff that we would have. Back then, all that was managed by Tanya Mays. It was a terrible idea. It was terribly managed. There was, I remember statistics where we would lose followers after all the work that we've been doing. I casted solely on Level BF for months and months on end. And I'm gonna show you a picture of this. Actually, I finally found it within the stuff. You see, there's a lot of work that we put in here. This is basically just one of the BF4 folders, ESL stuff, preparations for ESL 1. It's a lot of work. Esports. This is for an irrelevant esport technically. So imagine even like callouts, all that kind of stuff. There's so much. This is basically the schedule. This is how much work I had to put in. So this is just casting. This does not include the preparation time and the amount of work that had to be done post cast and pre-cast to get everything ready, the testing and all the promotion that we did. This is basically a month of work, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 casts within 26 days. That's a lot. That is a lot, and I know a lot of people still remember those casts. So it's a very, very difficult job, and remember, there was zero pay. So for me, it's like, well, I like this, I'm gonna do it, and if people think that I'm good at it, then it's fine. That's exactly what I want to happen. So I continued casting, and at some point the stream team wasn't working out because I got constant opposition from people, especially Tanya back then. It's like, oh no, we want to grow the Battlefield stream team, and then blah, blah, and you see she got, you know, appreciation from DICE for being on that stream team and quote unquote organizing it, even though nothing really happened except for a few weeks where it was successful. We had Skittles, we had Brekkie, all that kind of stuff. Awesome people that streamed on it, but nothing at the end. There was no real goal. It was just, well, you're gonna stream on this channel, that's it, which doesn't provide growth for neither the channel nor the actual streamer that's on it, which is a terrible idea at the end of it. You have to think about it in a very pragmatic way, where growth has to happen in a certain way, and that was definitely not. That's why right now I'm posing a lot of the Battlefield stream team stuff, but with the inclusion of the EU stream team, it's getting a lot better. I was really skeptical with the US stuff. It's still very, very skeptical, but with the right people behind it, I think it might be an actual thing at some point. So that aside, stream team didn't really work out back then. I got constant pressure to not force competitive play, because either I would get my way and I would have content on the channel which is appropriate on the channel, which is why the channel was getting all of its growth, or it would just be a random place for people to just stream on. And I remember friends of mine that got into the Battlefield scene because of people like me, or some players like Rune and like Nightwing back in the day, are like, you know what, I love WBF, I love what you guys do, but seriously, this going live all the time and for random people that I never know, and there's one person of them that I like to watch, I don't want to see that, and I just unfollowed, unsubscribed back then. It's right there. So all of that happened. Battlefield stream team died, and then I had my way. I could cast as much as I want, and fortunately I got to cast so much that I got in touch with 5v5 people. That's where, you know, obviously with Pio and all that kind of help, I started casting Go4s. I got better and better and better at it, and at the end, after a lot of work and a lot of advice, even from players, I remember like some of the notes here, they come from ex-Dignitas players. Obviously before me, there were many people that were Stockbert that used to cast the offline events with all the ESL guys. So like thanks to him, all of this kept, was alive on the actual premier scene. Because remember, the AV8 scene is considerably smaller in terms of what is actually being invested in the money and the long-term measure of this kind of esports thing, where even DICE themselves don't really know what to do with it. And it's really obvious with the way that the entire events were really handled, where even in the last event we didn't really have anybody there from EA or DICE, which was really heartbreaking. Back at the beginning, there were people that were there. I saw the pictures, people telling me there was support, there was people that really wanted to improve things. That's how we got Squad Obliteration, which was really, really good to see. And so fast forward to spring 2015, that's the ESL 1 season, and I didn't get invited to cast because I don't know why, but I guess there wasn't really enough of a reason to do so. Brett, however, was invited, and he came over from the US, and I basically spoke to Lexi like a week before the event, or maybe 2 weeks before. Don't look, Lexi. I actually did not have more than 40 euros in my bank account then, and I got into trouble where I wasn't able to get any funding or any money for the next multiple weeks, which was basically trying to force me to go back to Lebanon. It's a weird thing. So at the end there, I ended up borrowing money and talking to Lexi in a way where he wanted to go to the event to watch, and where he couldn't play because he had to be 18 back then. And thanks to him, I got to stay with him in a decently cheap hotel room, not far away from the event, where all the players were as well. They were all staying like in the hotels right next to us, so it's pretty sick. And thanks to him, I was able to go, thanks to my uncle for supporting me when I told him about all of this stuff. And so that was sick. That was huge for me. I got to go there. I remember the night before, I said, well, okay, look, I saw that Jason Kaplan and Pansy had tweeted that they're sick and all, and I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna bring my stuff with me. If they need me, then I'm gonna be there to help. And this is all from my own pocket, so I go there with barely any money anyways. We couldn't even afford the breakfast or I couldn't afford the breakfast at the hotel, and Lexi ended up paying for it just out of, because like, you know what, man, it's a gift, and I still haven't returned it to this day. So all that happened. I went to the offline event. I got called at 9:30 a.m. when I arrived. I almost missed my bus to take me to Cologne because I had no clue how to get to where the bus is, because we left at like 4:30 a.m. from here to get there. It was a really slow bus that came all the way from the UK. We arrived, I arrived in Cologne. I couldn't believe I was there because I had class in a couple of days in the morning. So all of that happened. I got a call from Pio. He told me, look, we need you. Brett still isn't here. Brett unfortunately was stuck with some delays in the US because there was a storm and that kind of stuff. So thankfully he arrived like just in time, and he had stayed for so many hours on just Red Bulls for a couple days. It's a really sad story. So ended up arriving there. Jason was unfortunately sick, so Zinto, the one and only, was working at ESL back then as a producer. So he came up to me and was like, yo, you're Milosh. We wanted to get at least even Pio to cast at that point because we had nobody else. And I told him, look, I'm ready for it. I was like, okay, I believe in you. And I got to do the second match of the event. I remember putting it on Battlelog on Twitter. I'm like, holy shit, I'm going to actually cast an offline event. And we went through it. Now we're at minute 34. It's going to be a long video, don't worry about it. So if you're this far, then thanks, but there's still quite a bit to go along with. So at this point, remember, there's so much casting that I've already been doing. I showed you part of the wasn't Slack, but it was something else back then. I don't remember what it was, the application that we used to organize everything. But anyways, we had all of this down to a point. You know, I got to cast the offline event. I'm like, holy shit. I got to meet all the players, got to be friends with a lot of them, and good friends with most of them, actually. Except for Yes is Dick Kappa. So All that happened, and then I'm like, okay, now what do I do after I came back from the event? ESL definitely seen that I had something to show in terms of skill, which was good. That's really what I wanted to show, that I could actually do something in terms of casting or hosting or any such sort of stuff. So I was really happy about it. And summer was coming up. I'm like, okay, well, next event is at Gamescom. I'm gonna work my ass off to get there. So I casted every single possible event. Like Lexi back then started to cast with me a lot, and I was looking for a co-caster to try, you know, with what was it? It was Robot that casted. I'd Be Lucky, who disappeared out of the blue. Robot that casted a few events, and then I don't know. Lexi that then helped out a lot in the early stages too, and so started to cast Go Force, started to do all that kind of stuff. 1v1 helicopter, you know, there's a list. I tweeted a list today. Alright, you see all of these? They're on my LinkedIn page actually. There we go. So all of this I got to cast. Most of it was before I got to go to the ESL, to Gamescom. So I casted all of this solo for most of it. There was some stuff with Lexi, Robot, Lucky, etc. Some with Brett for a couple of events, and a lot of work was put down. Battlefield Hardline didn't end up being anything, so our concerns were really true from the beginning, so I guess told you so. And I wanted to work my ass off to get the Gamescom. Fortunately, ESL had seen that I actually do have something to show for it. They obviously needed the casters because Pansy and Alex Machine was casting at IEM Gamescom for CS, so there I was. Brett was brought in as well, so I almost missed my train that day. Don't remind me of it. It was a terrible, terrible day. Anyways, Gamescom was fun. It's a terrible place to go if you're alone, really, because I had to walk in alone for the first day, which is really bad. But, you know, the rest of it was pretty fun. It was an awesome event. We got to cast, our producer was A-Spec, legend in the casting scene as well. Apparently used to cast a lot before he went in, so that was sick. Then we came back after the event. It was pretty cool. Obviously, in the meantime, there was a lot of BNL casting. There was a lot of the casting stuff that we did. So 4, 5, 6, all of those seasons happened back then. There was a Final Stand Cup, I remember, with Fnatic winning that at the end. They got, through my recommendation, I wanted to say Winghaven, but that was a long time ago. They got, what's his name? I said his name not too long ago. They got Nightwing, and he won them the thing because I told them bring Nightwing. And all of that aside, it worked out correctly. Because of Gamescom, I remained in Belgium for the summer because I'm like, okay, well, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this right, and I'm gonna work all summer on this. Basically, sit in my house. I'm gonna write down notes. I'm gonna put everything where it's supposed to be. I'm gonna cast. I'm gonna do as much as possible. I got to make a bit of money at the end of it. Not too much. Obviously, casters don't really make a lot of money. I wish I could actually talk in numbers, but yeah, for obvious reasons I can't. But it's really not much. Really, unless you're Ender's Assembler and, you know, on that kind of level, or like if you're, I don't know, Melk or Red Eye or that kind of stuff, or even Nathanius. Even on Nathanius's level, he's, you know, complaining a lot about the amount of money that's being made. So trust me, unless you're a really high level, you're not really making anything. So for me, it's like, oh well, it's a bit of pocket money, so my parents don't have to pay for everything. And that's how I saw it. That's how I still see it, and that's how I will see it for a long, long time, until I'm sufficiently independent in my life. Hopefully, it won't take too long. So again, remember, I'm an outside student, so I only have a temporary visa. And when my university studies are out, I'm done. You know, I go back. and I can't stay in Europe. I'm back to shitty internet, that kind of stuff. So all that's been going on. We keep continuing with the casts and stuff. 2015 is about to end. There's one more season for Battlefield 4. So I work again as hard as possible, and that's my senior year in university. That summer, right before Gamescom, I told Kevin from Level Now Awesome that, look, third year I won't have a lot of time, so it's my final year in uni, hopefully, and if everything goes well, I'm not gonna have any time during the year, and that'll be my last year, and then I'm done. So don't rely on me for casts. I'm gonna barely have enough time, which was reflected at the beginning of the year. I had a few events, and that was about it. Nations Cup was the biggest, really the biggest thing that we did, and then qualifiers for ESL 1, that kind of stuff. Those were, the ESL 1 was obviously, there was some monetary backing to it. The ESL channel that I have basically makes nothing, so don't really think about ad revenue. For the people that have, Brett understands this perfectly, Merigiani as well, the people that have partner channels, they'll know that there's really not any money to be made. So there's no real incentives other than the quote-unquote EP-ness and just enjoying what you do. If I didn't enjoy it, then I wouldn't do it. That's why now I'm not streaming BF4, because I don't enjoy playing BF4 anymore. It's, I don't know, it's a weird chain of events. I don't know how to explain it. So all that kind of stuff happened. Ended up working my ass off to get to go to ESL 1 in December. That was awesome. That was a fantastic event. We got the highest number ever in terms of stream viewers on all the streams. About 14 to 15,000 viewers. That was sick. Producer was like, holy shit, we didn't even expect that kind of number. And it's nothing really compared to any other game. Even StarCraft 2 can pull off more. You know, dead game, and all that kind of stuff. So it was huge for us because it was my final season. It was BF4's final season. It was my third season, and I had been there and casted the final of the biggest event there, and it was an amazing final. Casted my ass off there. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I remember Mitch coming right in front of, like, moving right in front of me, walking when I was casting the final with Safe, and he saw me screaming and going at it, and he tells me like, yo, hey, just waves at me, and I'm like, yo, hey, I'm waving at him, and continue doing the same thing, and he's like, look, man, I understand, you know, he's into it, and just don't let him stop. I got it. So there were some really sick moments. That's why in my mind, those kinds of cool things don't really go away. So it's third year, so it's my final year. There's a lot of work to be done, and I wouldn't have enough time to cast. That's why by the ESL Nations Cup or Nations Challenge that ended in early 2016, that was it. That was basically it, and I was done. I couldn't cast anymore. I had my thesis to work on. It's a lot of work, and I completed it. I talked about it before. It's like a 70-page French thing where it explains the link that I found between eye fatigue and video games or gaming for X amount of time, for like 2 hours or so. It's interesting for some people. Hopefully, you know, I've had some feedback. Some people would like to see it, so I can give them to some people if required. But you know, in the summer of 2015, I casted a lot of CS:GO. I started working with Dinga TV because my friend Kyanite, who's an amazing friend of mine, I consider him as my brother, my second brother in this world, who's also Lebanese, the second and the only other Lebanese caster in anything in esports ever. So I'm really happy to have him by my side. He helped me up with Fabian Logerman from Take TV back then, now working with Faceit and E-League. So really happy to see these people in high places nowadays. Casted Dinget weeklies on Dinget TV, UCC League Season 3. I got to do Faceit. That was the first time I ever casted. That was with Hugo Byron. From back then, he was with 27-1, and it was right before an exam that I passed really, really well. And he told me, like, I told him in front of 20,000 people, like, okay, well, mate, I have to say, this is my first ever CS cast in CS:GO. I was like, holy shit. I used to commentate on my own gameplay with my brother and a lot of friends that would come in and watch us at LAN events when I was a kid, but that's about it. So it was sick. It was cool. Got to cast Go CL with Nip TV. Game Agents was pretty cool. And most of these were paid. Some of them were not, but it was enough for me to pay my rent, which is good. I don't want my parents to be paying for everything. Then eFrag came along. That was pretty huge. eFrag are a pretty sick company to work with. Less than a month ago, I was working there with them for ESL1 Cologne. They still have a lot of the interviews and a lot of stuff that we did there with myself, Kainet, Fabio, and that kind of stuff. It's pretty sick. Well, championships nowadays. Overwatch, I've gone into it. I really like Overwatch. I play a fuck ton of Overwatch because I really like the game. I don't know why, but it just ticks all the boxes for me. It works really well. Call of Duty, I wanted to cast a bit in Brussels, in my local area, and not far away was EGO, the European Gaming Organization, something like that. And they were partnered with the Epsilon Esports, so I got to meet Slick from Epsilon Esports. They're all awesome guys. Obviously, I casted a lot of Epsilon during Battlefield 4, so he kind of knew who I was. Got in with them, casted some stuff for Call of Duty, just because it was fun to cast with the local talent as well, and just have some fun, not too far away from home. I like that. I wanted to interact with the locals a lot more than what we usually do. And yeah, there was the Venice Unleashed stuff, all that kind of stuff that we did. Remember, you see, there's a lot of Battlefield 4, so when people tell me you did nothing or you forgot about the Battlefield scene, it really breaks my heart, because all of this work, all of this thing, for me, it's huge. As a random Middle Easterner that just came to Europe to study, just somehow found something that he loved in Battlefield and just kept working with it, and against the wishes to some extent of the developers that had no real support of what was going on. It breaks my heart when I hear words like that. Really, it really hits hard. And so that's, you know, fast forward 2016, early 2016, Mr. Falls comes in, wants to cast. I couldn't obviously cast too much anymore, so he was, for me, the replacement to come in. A lot of people tell me, oh, he's bad, he's not gonna, and like, I'm being super honest here. A lot of people said that to me. I was the first person to say, you're all fucking idiots. This guy has a lot of potential. He just has to work on his few quirks, you know, being able to talk, doing the analysis, being entertaining. It's not an easy thing, but it takes a while, but that's about it. And, Victor was really open to coming in, giving me some VODs to check out, and I did them, and I sent them feedback and that kind of stuff. Fortunately, I didn't really see improvement that would warrant doing an event, like a big event. So for me, it was to some extent a lost cause, but I don't really blame anybody for it. It's the fact that you get stuck in casting online. It's really bad. Casting offline events is like playing offline events. Some people might know how it is. You never really grow as a player if you're not going to offline events, and you don't grow as a caster if you're not casting offline events. But you have to hit a certain level to be able to do it, and it's not really like tiers. You have no. You have to fill certain roles. Learned a lot in the esports thing because I worked in the background of a lot of big tournaments that had a pretty big prize pool behind them, in CS especially, where I learned, you know, a lot behind the gambling stuff, the skin betting stuff. Obviously, and I really spoke about them very fervently a long time ago, especially when I really started, and I learned a lot. I was pretty shit at casting CS in the beginning. I used to do a lot of bad things. I saw Reddit. I tried to improve as much as possible, and then I realized that Reddit was never going to help me out. So I personally improved by seeking help, sending VODs and that kind of stuff. So that's the only way to really do it. I had people that believed in me, and so through them I actually got better, which is pretty sick. People like Kevin, especially in the BF days. And that's it. Mr. Falls comes up, he starts casting. He casted Season 8, then started Friday Night Battlefield, and that's it. Basically it. That's what, and then BF Stream Team now. That's it. Had a big problem with the fact that for the 2 BF1 events, everybody I knew was invited or had access to Battlefield 1 closed alpha. I didn't, unfortunately. which after all of this, after the past 40, almost 50 minutes that I explained, all of that, at the end of it, I didn't even get an invite to an event or even an invite to the closed alpha of the game that I've been covering for the past almost 4 years. The series that I've been covering for the past 4 years almost. That I've so much work put into it. At the end, when I hear people telling me, you're a sellout, you forgot about us, you let us go, you abandoned us, I don't even get... The devs don't know who I am, they don't even follow me on Twitter, they don't even talk to me, I don't even have any of them on Skype, nobody says anything, and nobody really knows who the fuck I am. I'm not even invited to events, whereas people that have never done anything just, oh, I had a server, I somehow got BF dog tag, and here we go, I'm invited to this event on the other side of the world, kind of thing. They got everything, they got access, they got to go to the events and all that kind of stuff, and I'm just sitting here, I'm like, yo, what the fuck, man? All this work, and I don't even get a thank you? I don't even get a fucking invite to an alpha? What the fuck, man? I'm not even gonna get a copy of the game at this point. And so, that's why I was really pissed, and I remember back then when I tweeted out some really shitty things, but I'm very unprofessional, but I have to say, like, in my situation, what could I do? What could I do other than that? I had to complain to someone, and nobody was willing to hear from me, because everybody thought that I was just some sort of sellout, just a shit person, which is, at least in my mind, untrue, but I'll let you be the judge of that. It was a terrible thing. Really, really terrible. I ended up just saying it outright. Look, it's a personal insult that after all of my work, I don't even get invited. Brett's been invited to like half a dozen of these events since before Hardline and BF1. All my other friends, even like Neomatrix and Frites Une Fois, have been invited to them. Chadman was invited to it, all that kind of stuff. I'm like sitting here like, what the fuck, man? All this work? Come on, throw me a fucking bone. Like, come on. Just a teeny tiny something for me to work with here. Unfortunately, I got nothing. It's like, you get nothing. I don't remember from what movie that is, but really, I got nothing. And it was terrible. I felt betrayed. I felt betrayed by every single person that I ever helped in the BF scene, from players to organizers to people in the background to people that coded fucking the thing that you're using nowadays to get on to use on whatever website you're on that's related to Battlefield, to 5s to 8s players, to everything. And everybody, everywhere I went, people told me, oh, why didn't you get invited to these events? It's like, it's a given that you would be invited, right? After all the work you've done. Unfortunately, those people weren't enough for me to be there. I don't have any contacts with EA or DICE. Nobody really knows who I am. So it breaks my heart that after all the work that I've put in, I'm still a nobody for them, for a lot of other people, and I'm an asshole for a lot of others. I'd like to clear everything in this video, and hopefully it's been cleared as much as possible. I can explain some more, but definitely within an hour. It's a lot of talking, but I'm used to talking for this long because I lost my voice multiple times every single month and every single week after I casted so much in all of these events to put through. What can I say? It's been a long road, but I don't think I'll be around for too long. In a few months, hopefully, maybe next year, I don't know, I'll be done with uni, and I'll be back in Lebanon. I'll be working there, and maybe if all goes well, I'll be casting an event, offline event, which is all that I really want in the future, and that's it. And you'll never really see me online too much because I'll have shit internet. I won't be able to do much or stream ever. It's blunt, but that's about it. Some people feel sad by it, feel saddened by it. It's fine. Some people don't really give a fuck, which is fine by me as well. Why would they? And that's it. That's my parkour in the past few years. It's been difficult. It's been very unlikely as a story that who the fuck is this guy to come in. I learned a lot, especially over the past 2 years when I learned a lot about how esports functions, especially through CS. I have to say CS was a big experience for me, learning from a few people high up there, that had contacts everywhere that explained to me how things functioned, and I started to understand how things run in esports. It's not an easy thing. Casters are always underpaid. Production most of the time is underpaid, and talent especially. And that's it. Underappreciated for a lot of times. And to be honest, as someone that's been to events and online or offline or whatever, people come up to you and say, well, why are you canceling Battlefield 4? It's an irrelevant game, it's a shit game. Why would you ever do it? Why are you wasting your time? To be honest, when I didn't get invited to Battlefield 1 events, or even got alpha access, I was thinking like, why the fuck am I even trying? Maybe they're right. I don't want that to be like it. I fucking love Battlefield. And now people throw everything back at me. What do you want me to do? I'm a sane person. I'm a human. At some point, I don't want this to drive me insane. That's why I stopped playing Battlefield 4 on stream and stopped playing it most of the time. I couldn't enjoy it anymore because of all the background drama that was happening. And I played something that got me off all of these types of horrible things that were going on in my mind, because when you have to prepare for an event where you're someone that's never really been too tested on camera, like I've been at concerts. I used to do a lot of concerts as a kid, a lot of plays where somehow I used to get lead roles every time. I used to do speeches and that kind of stuff, but never really anything on camera in front of people that I never really knew. A lot of them I knew back in the day, so I could be a lot more comfortable. So here, it's very public, very different, and it wasn't an easy thing to adjust to. I couldn't sleep a lot of nights because I had to think about, well, oh, we have to do this for the event, I have this idea, I have to work on it now. So imagine, now at 3 a.m., but a lot of times I'll wake up at 2, 3 a.m. like, oh, I have this idea for the stream, I must work on it now, I must write it down before I forget it, like a punchline, an intro line, so a way to do the introductions. You see, even the way that I did the intros for the teams when we started off, the music that we put for the Nations Cup, videos that we incorporated from pro players, their montages, all that kind of stuff. Those didn't come out of the fucking blue. Those are ideas that I had to cook up for a long time to get them down right, and to ask a lot of people for help and see how other esports deal with it, especially like in StarCraft and CS. I learned a lot from them to be able to incorporate them in Battlefield, to make the thing grow. And now all I see is just people recycling the same stuff that I used to do, and there's no real innovation. I want to see that. We won't really evolve. Friday Night Battlefield is not a real thing in my mind. It's a fun event in my mind. It's sometimes it's being taken a bit too seriously, but now they're coming back to us. Like, okay, well, you come in, there's people playing, quote unquote commentate, maybe talk about Battlefield and that kind of stuff. That's how it's supposed to be. It's like a more animated talk show. There's a lot of ways to make it even better and better without taking it way too seriously. Things have to be put in place. I think a lot of people in the 88 scene, like, denying that 5v5 is even a thing, denying the existence of a league that's professional and the way that it is run, the amount of money that's put into it by EA especially, like, all that kind of stuff contributed to the quick downfall of BF4 after ESL 1 was done. It's a terrible thing to do. Instead of supporting one another, we had a lot of drama about people and just, oh, 5s are irrelevant or 8s are irrelevant or whatever. And I told both of the people on both sides to stop being fucking assholes and sit together and actually play. And that's how, through Falls and through a few people at the beginning, and especially through Fleet in the beginning of 2016, where we had the 8v8 5v5 merge type of show matches and stuff. That was really sick to see. I used to bring along with all of quote-unquote professional players to cast, so they would see how it is to be a caster. It's not an easy thing, and they're like, okay, well, this actually makes us a lot more comfortable on camera after doing it, because now we would want to stream. This would be perfect for us as casters and hosts, because then you would have the streams, people would go and watch, there's exposure, then you'd have a storyline to base around players, around teams, their rise, their fall. People get really interested in that, just like ESL 1 Cologne for CS. I have the pictures here. Team Liquid, Nobody believed that they would make it to the final. Nobody believed that they would have their run. But seeing Team Liquid on the stage, it was so good. It drove Yanko mad. It was that good. That's a storyline. That is a perfect storyline. These people could not believe it. When I say they could not believe it, I mean people were on their freaking feet. It was amazing. They couldn't believe it. That's what we wanted to build for Battlefield. And unfortunately, without innovation, it cannot happen. It genuinely cannot happen. We had to base a storyline. There had to be something cool for people to look at, because we don't have quote-unquote betting in Battlefield. We don't have the big players. We have to create them. It's more difficult, arguably, to create these storylines than to just take something that is already available and then just adapt to it over time, because there's old professional players in it, like we have with CS, where CS 1.6 players would come in. You have your Force, your Get Right, especially like in the last major with Astralis, where Zonic came in to play with Astralis. That was freaking amazing. I actually did an interview with him. It was awesome meeting him and talking to people from those old times. So it's amazing to see this. This is what we want to have in here. That's why there's Mayak here, because Mayak, at the end of it, in my mind, we had to create a meme around Mayak. We had to create a legend around Mayak in my mind, because this guy is like, holy shit, he's a fucking amazing player. Show him off. Show him off. You have to, just like we had Too Easy before, the Drunks before him, before they all left the scene to go for Overwatch. We had our Make that created the storyline around him. Benny, Zika, Safe. There was so much. The trash talk as well. All that kind of stuff combined. We had Dexterity later on. Moving to INTZ. We had to create storylines. Those were the difficult things. We had to get people interested in Battlefield through the players and the game itself. Squad Obliteration was the first thing. It was a cool game mode. It's not, we don't want to copy paste CS. We finally got something that shows Battlefield on its own. It's 5v5, sure, but it actually showed it off correctly, and we had top players being, it was easy to see where each one of the players really started to shine. Like, let's say Hunto, the aggressive play, fit his name really well. Mayak, the sniper with the Ace 23 across the frickin' map. Zika, the guy that comes out of frickin' nowhere, double aces fanatic. That's a story that we want to see. In AV8, I tried to do the exact same thing. We built it around Losco, the Italian stallion. Remember that? Remember those kinds of things? There was, the memes around Nicey, around Godhold, the esports thing that came out of Nice to Meet. We still have it. People still use it. That's the legacy we're trying to build. We're not trying to build something where people just come in, watch a stream, and that's it, it's done. We want people to come back every single week, more and more, than to say, look, this is what I want to see. This is fun. I want to see competition, but have fun at the same time. You can't take it too seriously or just do it a complete trash talk thing. Even with the Firebomb challenge, which I think still have the picture of it here somewhere. Yeah, there you go. The Firebomb, 1200 prize pool. I mean, RPG small MBT law only. See, that was fun, but we actually tried to do it somewhat serious, like bringing in the fun, the seriousness, all that kind of stuff, which I think is really lacking nowadays. Thanks to Firebomb for that, by the way. And was it Teryx? It was Teryx Uncut from Uncut that created that graphic. So all that kind of stuff comes into it. It was amazing. That's what we want to see. Hopefully Battlefield 1 will have stuff like that, and hopefully you realize why I got so pissed at the end of Battlefield 4 that I would go and lash out on social media and on stream, because I really was fucking frustrated. After all this work, so much investment into other esports, to go back into BF to try and invest my own time and money into this, and then see it all disappear because it turned out to be the same fucking thing all over again. Regurgitating the same shit that we've been saying for years, instead of actually innovating and moving on with it. We're all waiting for Battlefield 1. Well, everybody was waiting for Battlefield 4. Everybody was waiting for Battlefield 3. Everybody waiting for Bad Company 2. And Bad Company before that. And BF2. Like, we can't keep waiting for the game to come out. We have to fucking come up there and say, look, this is what we are. We're a scene. You want us here, you help us out. You don't, we're all gonna fuck off from Battlefield. We love your game, DICE. We've done so much for it, but we want you to support us, because look at all of this work. Like, I've talked for an hour and 5 minutes now. I can probably talk for a few hours more about all the work that we did, and I still haven't even gone into real details. And that's the gritty stuff down there. So all of this work, this is why I'm sad at the end, because I'm getting called all these names after, and all these terrible things. This is my explanation. This is the amount of work that I put in. And I could still go on for hours more. Believe me. This is only the surface of what's really happening, and what really happened. Unfortunately, I won't be available for too long. And I want to say I put part of the Battlefield scene on my back, but I did. I worked a lot to get here. Brett worked a lot to get here. Daskor before us worked a lot to get here too. Whitey before him as well. Each one of us improved on something. And if there's not anyone after us to keep improving, and I won't be around for long. After a bit, I'm gonna be long gone, and you won't really see too much of me anymore, unless it's social media. There has to be somebody to carry the torch after us, and so far, I haven't personally seen anybody that can actually do it. And to be honest, I don't even know what's gonna happen with Battlefield 1, and in my suspicions, it's probably gonna be the same thing as BF4. We still haven't learned our lesson, and I don't think DICE has learned its. And by seeing the way that everything's been going, but after playing BF1, thanks to the Frostbite Pro that through his kind heart finally gave me access to BF1 through his account to be able to play it, because who the fuck is Milosh the Medic to give him, Hassan Finch is an irrelevant person. Why should we give him access to the alpha, right? I lay my case, that's it. If you want to believe it, sure. If you don't, then fuck off. I never liked you anyways. I put a lot of work into this. A lot of people tell me that, who you like to thank and all that kind of stuff. Look, I'm doing this for myself. In the words of Tasteless, I do this for myself. If I didn't enjoy it, then I wouldn't do it. The beginning was to keep my sanity alive, and I don't want Battlefield to drive me insane at the end of it. I love this game. Some people think it's irrational. It's stupid to do it. Sure. But I like it anyways. It didn't like me back. And hopefully this is me coming to terms with it and explaining for everybody why I did what I had to do and where I came from, or where I'm gonna go, Cotton Eye Joe and all that kind of stuff. I know somebody has that song in their head right now, just like I do. So yeah, it's been a long road. We're still not done. BF1 is right around the corner. I don't know what I'm gonna do. If my plan is to go back to Lebanon to work there and maybe go work at an offline event every now and then, hopefully that'll happen. If not, then I guess I'll say adieu. I bid you adieu, and we'll see what happens then. I can't promise anything. For people that enjoyed what I did, thank you. You supported me every single step of the way to get here. From people like, I don't know, I read some of the comments. Mr. Bill, that always comments in videos. You're a fucking god, man. Always does all that kind of stuff. I have Infrit that supports behind. Neometrix always from the French scene. Got everybody behind us to help us out. And I don't want to see people that are just being negative all the time and not trying to help out. Just I remember at the beginning of Battlefield, oh shit. Well, if it's so shit, why the fuck are you playing it? Why are you just going away? Because you're not making any money from it. That's for sure. There's no reason for you to stay if you don't enjoy it, if you don't do anything with it. And everybody just have their egos to protect. We were trying to take Battlefield to the next level, which is to make it worth it for players to play, not just for fun, but for something at the end as a prize. Corsair stepped up with BCL, and we continued on with it. I couldn't cast anymore for very good reasons. Like, if somebody comes up now and tells me, look, you betrayed us because you had university and you can cast, I'll tell them, fuck off. GPA is the only thing I really care about, and that's it. I don't make any money off of casting most of the time, and about 98 to 99% of every single cast I've done in BF4 I haven't made, and BF3 I haven't made a single dime off of. It's only in CS I was able to make any money that can be quantified, and CS is a very, very different business. So thanks to people that believe in what I do. Thanks for anybody that enjoyed the memes that are still on here. Like, get out of get these. This is actually pretty sick. I don't know. Get these illegals out of my swamp. All this work was done for a reason. This is all work to make BF great. Not again, just to make it great, because it never was really before BF4. I want to say the opposite, but it was a good game. It was just one not developed enough to become a true esport. And maybe we can learn from BF4 and make it something in BF1. I don't know. But it's really up to you, me, and the guys at DICE. If we all want to work together to make this a real thing. Gears of War announced $1 million tournament, and we still have no clue what's going to happen with BF1. I'm just laying my case. So, what's coming up next? It's been a long time. It's an hour 15 minutes. So, end of it is that I got some BF1 footage. Hopefully I'll be able to make my own ideas on what's going to happen with BF1. Maybe a video one day. I actually got to record some video footage at the Royal Army Museum here for World War One, and I'm trying to find a way to like put everything together. I filmed that on the National Day for Belgium on July 21st at the Royal Army Museum. So hopefully I can get something done with that over the next week or so. I have some work to do before my finals. So yeah, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed all the content that I try to put out as much as possible, from BF to all other games, especially Battlefield though. See my dedication for the game, and for anybody that's been saying, for all you haters out there that's been saying like, oh, this guy, you know, he's a real cancer in Battlefield. He's a terrible person. He always whines and is very jealous on people on social media. Now you understand why I do what I do. I never was jealous of anybody. I never will be. Esports is never something I saw as a career. It's just something that keeps me sane and really has me enjoy a part of gaming that I never really saw existed, or never really thought that it ever existed. All in all, any day now, I just pack up my bags and go live a normal life where I don't have to play games or think about all these kinds of things ever again, where everything like this is just really stupid for most people, which is really true. This is how most people see it. A lot of people see what I do as cool, even people out in the outside world, quote unquote, and I like it. I think I do cool stuff in life, and that's what drives me forward in anything that I do. So hopefully you'll see more content. Hopefully you'll get more content, actually more stuff to cover in the future, and I'm really looking forward to what the future holds in terms of BF1. Still have no clue, and if I knew, I probably wouldn't be able to say. I really have no clue. I tried. We'll see what happens. It's very important not to lose hope, but don't give too much of your energy to things that are very inconsistent. I'll just keep it at that, just not to throw around too many words. It's already been pretty long. So, from me to you, I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for helping me out. Thank you for having me here to be someone you believed in terms of casting. You came back to hundreds and hundreds of viewers that came in every single time. It's huge for Battlefield. Never expect anything like this. It was huge, and I'm really happy that under my quote-unquote supervision and under my work all this happened. and hopefully that'll eradicate any of the terrible ideas that people had about me. So yeah, that's about it. See you guys soon. Clearly, I love you all. And I'll see you maybe one day on the battlefield. Ciao, ciao.